Снайпер! Контакт! Прикрой меня! Я должен перезарядиться!
Oh, crap on a stick. The Russian server has come to an inflection point with assault artilleries. Practically a glorified, indirect, vomit-trocious of a tank destroyer. Practically. Garbage DPM, garbage accuracy, aim time, subsonic shell velocity. You can actually hear the shell before you actually get hit, if you do get hit. Also, it's heat by default, so technically it could be absorbed by mantlets or gun barrels or space armor like the Super Pershing or Super Conqueror, so might not even pin. High explosive is also not that high in penetration and no stun duration, so it could deal lots of damage, but frontal armor is pretty good sometimes, right? So I don't know. It has better health, better mobility, better camo than actual artillery, fine, better view range, but that doesn't save it, right? That does not do anything. I do not need health or view range or anything else on the FV-304. I just need a good gun to be annoying with. This doesn't look like it too. Also, you have to jump through the hoops to get to the tech tree. It's not unlocked right away from an actual tank destroyer. You have to play the special progression bar of tier 6 through 10 reset of XP along the way to the tier 11s, but only unlocking the assault artillery at stage 2 of the stuff. So it's not right away available, but let's see how good the assault artillery is. Spoiler warning, doesn't look that good to me. Alright, at tier 6, SU-122. Basically a SU-85 or 100 with a bigger cutout for the gun and a different commander cupola thing, but there are 2 JPEGs or wallpaper of the vehicle. Pretty good looking, right? I mean, it's a derp gun, 122, about the same that's on the KV-1 or KV-2 stock, but it's practically a SU-100 with a larger caliber gun, or SU-85 without the 85. But Commander Cupola has a bulge, but it's more like a viewing port, so you can also elevate the gun. It is an indirect fire, of course, but has the best camo out of the bunch. Technically, it could be more active in spotting, I guess, but no. You have better mobility than like SU-8, right? Better mobility does not really make it that worthwhile to play this vehicle close range to heavy tanks, right? You have no armor. It's still only about 50-ish millimeter sloped at the front, so based off of a T-34 chassis, of course, it's a 122 without stun duration, garbage DPM, kind of crap accuracy and aim time, but it's still better than, I guess, than the 152 on the SU-8, but yeah. Crew of 5, 2 loaders, 1100 DPM with the heat round, right? So with high explosive you get better DPM, but let's just use the actual heat round, this page. But heat round, subsonic shell velocity, 165. The speed of sound is 345 or 43 meters per second, depending on air particles and elevation and stuff, but you can actually hear the gunshot or the barrel besides getting felt by the actual shell. Subsonic. Shell velocity's crap. You get better DPM with a high explosive, but high explosive shell is also slow. It has no penetration whatsoever. So it's not like the FV-304 where you can lob the shell into the engine deck. It's closer. Therefore, the angle of attack for the shell is not as high as the engine deck. You have to go over the turrets. So, not that great. The gun doesn't look that great. So, you guys told me that the 77% on the tracks mean that it's 0.23 on dispersion while moving and traversing the hull, which is okay. It's not the worst, but not that great. So, there's still a bloom with traversing the hull and firing the gun. It's 5 degrees per side too. So, not that comfortable of a gun angle. I think it's the same with the Polish tank destroyers, right? It's not great. 3 degrees the gun depression. Traversing the gun socket is relatively quick, but it sucks. Alright, moving on to the armor. Does it have the armor to be close range fighting with heavy tanks? And in short, no. 55 at the hull front, 45 at the sides and rear. It's nothing. It has the health, right? It has more health than artillery. But you're a punching bag. You're a piñata. You're a sucker for punishment. 55. The mantlet could eat the shot, but it's still about 100 or so. And at tier 6, any vehicles other than light tanks have about 90-ish millimeters of pin. They could still go through. So no, or 120 for light tanks. But yeah, that has no armor. Nothing. Side armor 45, nothing. So no armor whatsoever. Yeah, it's a SU-85 with a derp gun, practically. In an indirect fire mode, but bleh. Let's see. I have SU-8 at tier 6. I have a turbocharger on this thing, but even this thing has better DPM. It's a high explosive, but the high explosive is almost 3 times faster than your heat round or high explosive round. The high explosive flies faster than the heat. Or this is not even heat. It looks yellow, but it's just normal high explosive. Alright, fine. Armor piercing. Even faster for the AP. You're not hitting jack squat with the shell velocity of 165. Mobility is not bad. 16.7 horsepower per tire ratio. 46 kilometers per hour top speed. It could go ramming to a light tank, I guess. Camo is pretty good. 22% while stationary. And 320 meters of view range. So, it could be stealthy behind a cover or behind a building, but I don't see it, right? I really don't. We'll cover the equipment and field mods at the very end altogether, but it's practically the same. So, yeah, not looking good, especially the DPM. The DPM suck. You could spam high explosive, but there's no stun duration. There's no assisting damage, right? But, yeah. Alright, moving on with the tech tree. So coming from the SU-100, no, just SU-85 into this vehicle. The SU-D15 at tier 7. So stock configuration, you have 2 guns, a 122 and a 152. With better tracks, better engine, and better radio. Radio is also kind of short range when you think about it, but then again, it's not like 700 meters, so you're closer range than actual artillery, so that doesn't matter that much, I guess, but it's practically the SU-85 again with a different layout, a different mantlet that looks more like the SU-122 44 or 54 in a sense, but have 2 JPEGs or wallpaper of the vehicle, big exhaust, scrubber box. It has the 𝗔𝘀𝘀𝘂𝗹𝘁 on top, fuel tanks. It's a big caliber gun. Oh man, I mean, if all these vehicles, you could just basically put a different gun, and that's a new tank destroyer branch for the other servers, right? That is a barely effortless of a vehicle branch you could add just by adding a new gun barrel or a new gun to the whole branch. Adjust the arbitrary stats and there you go, a new line of Russian tank destroyers. So, not including the ASU series of vehicles, right? We don't have the ASUs, so you could just put a new gun, and there you go, a new branch. But another SU-85 practically. But let's see how good the gun is. You get worse accuracy, worse aim time, worse DPM than the 122. Not much, not that much. Yeah, not that much. It's fine, I guess. 210 for the high explosive anti-tank. And 450 alpha, but DPM still sucks. Accuracy still sucks. Aim time still sucks. You have better angles per side now at 10 degrees. So the mantlet, the ball, the bulge, the ball in socket kind of a mantlet is better than the slit on the tier 6. So a little bit more comfortable of a gun angle, but you still have to lob the shell, so to speak. But it is the same shell velocity, like 165 meters per second, which is utter crap. But let's see, 165 meters per second, 210 for the penetration of the heat, but high explosive is 34. You have better DPM, but no splash or no stun effect mostly, so you have to rely on the splash of the damage. But doesn't have more armor than the tier 6. Oh, wrong button. You're still close range, but 850 health, 75 at the whole front, 45 at the sides and rear. No. At tier 7, the average pen of a tank destroyer of a heavy tank is about 175 to 200. So no, you have no armor. I mean, mantlet could eat the shot. It's a troll mantlet, but otherwise, no. Not really that assaulty of a close range tank destroyer design, right? It's not like a Ferdinand, so to speak, or 263. So you don't have that much armor. No armor. Mobility is almost 20 horsepower per ton ratio, 19.56, and 45 kilometers per hour top speed. Not that bad. So could go Ramy on light tank, but it's only like 31 tons with equipments. Camo not as good as a tier 6, but it's okay. I mean, 17%. And view range is still kind of crap, 340. So yeah, it's basically a larger caliber gun for the SU-85. So now it's carrying a 152 derp gun, almost like the stock gun on the ISU-122. But okay. Now moving on to heavy tank chassis with the ISU-2SH. We have already covered this vehicle, but this thing was along the U-18T back in like May of last year, but we'll have 3 pictures? Ooh. There were 3 pictures of this vehicle. But yeah, this is practically ISM with the rear mounted turret, except now it's a superstructure and a derp gun on top. And it's not that pretty. I mean, it's more in line with the actual heavy tank chassis than using a KV chassis on the U-18T, but tracer rounds on a modified 𝗔𝘀𝘀𝘂𝗹𝘁. Oh, it's a red tip. But yeah, visually it's an ISM with a superstructure, easily convertible to a tank destroyer by placing a 152, right? Just put a BL-10 on this thing, and there's a new premium tier 8 of a tank destroyer. So easy, nearly effortless of importing stuff from the Russian server, but doesn't have the armor. It should have a little bit more, blah blah blah. A little bit better armor than the tier 7. It's definitely 152, still garbage DPM. Yep. I mean, okay. The health increase per level, per stage, or per tier is dramatically more than 200, right? So you're facing off against tier 10s with 1,300 DPM of heat rounds. That's not gonna do that much. I mean, unless you're... It could pin, yes, you could pin within like 23 seconds of reload, or 21 with a rammer, fine. But still, that's basically just annoying to deal with. If you manage to hit with 0.77 accuracy and about 4 seconds of aim time. So, I don't know how annoying these things will be, but there's no stun duration with high explosive. It's 1,700 DPM. It's a little bit more respectable, I guess, but it's still 36 millimeters of pin without stun duration. It's a burst radius of 13 meters. Yeah, okay. Shell velocity is still slow, right? They could just wiggle about and throw off the shot, so that might be the slowest shell velocity, other than flamethrower, I think, but it's not that great. Does it have the armor? That's the main part of playing Assault Artillery. Health is more like a SU-130 PM, right? It's more like a paperless or paper armored tank destroyer. This video's gone to shit. So it doesn't have that much health. I mean, it's less than the Ferdinand. Ferdinand is 1,500. Upper plate, about 200. Not that bad. A lot more respectable than the SU series of 122s or D15. So a little bit more respectable on the upper plate. And the bottom plate, strip of 260. Superstructure is 220, slope backwards. So about 290. This definitely has more armor now, but it has the weak spot of the engine deck in the front, so can be counter-artilleried if you do get spotted. So they just shoot the high explosive or high explosive anti-tank into this area and pin, but maybe with the accuracy it could bounce. I don't know, but still rear-mounted vehicle. It can side scrape-ish, but 60. Gun angles is still 10, which is good. And a little bit more gun depression now, slightly. But could throw the shot and they fail to pin and then pull back and turn the gun around, and you could play like an actual tank destroyer somewhat. But mobility wise, 14.4 horsepower per ton and 40-ish kilometers per hour top speed. It's obviously more heavy tank, but let's see. 0.26 of dispersion while moving, so slightly worse than the medium tank counterparts of the chassis, but I don't know, at least you have the armor now. 10% camo, not that great. It's still better than actual artillery, right? Batchat artillery has like 7 or 8, even though you think it has a medium tank-esque of a chassis, should be about like 15 or so. Nope. Surprisingly, artillery does not have good camo, which does make sense. View range 360, at least better than the heavy tank counterparts, but at least you have armor now, so it's a little bit more viable, right? But the gun doesn't seem that too crazy. I mean, give it a stun effect with high explosive might be too much, too annoying. But then again, shell velocity is also crap, so I don't know. Alright, moving on. At tier 9, we have the IS-4. I didn't even upgrade this. Did I upgrade? I have to go check. Oh, stupid system does not allow you to upgrade without... I may be wrong. It's my fault. It's no, it's fully upgraded. No, it's fully upgraded. There's only one gun too. Alright, never mind. It's still... You don't have to do the fully upgrading of the stuff. That's good. Yeah, it's fully upgraded. Why is the only tier 6 or tier 7 not fully upgraded? I have no idea. Alright, tier 9. Oh god. It's a big ass mantlet. Look at the size of this thing. Jesus. It's huge. It's a IS-4 chassis with a massive gun on top. I mean, Definitely more armor than the ISM, of course, but Object 715G. Ooh, it is a beast of sorts. That is a very long chassis by the looks of it too. Might be one drive wheel or road wheel longer than the actual IS-4, but that looks a little bit longer than the usual. There's a seat on the back end? No, that's a spotlight. Aircraft spotlight. More or less. I don't know. But big ass chassis with a big ass gun. Looks forward heavy. More weight on the front end too. Like the half on the back doesn't have the massive superstructure, so the gun and the weight of the superstructure might dig the actual front drive wheel into the mud. Physically, I don't know, speaking, realistically speaking, but this is not a real vehicle. It's a 203mm main gun. 5-man crew still, similar to the tank destroyers, but 1,341 DPM with the high explosive anti-tank. Does deal 540 alpha, right, with 270mm of pen, but still garbage accuracy, even worse now, and long aim time, comparable to a... Well, artillery aim time is usually about 7 seconds or 8, so, I mean, it's still faster, I guess, but 5 degrees gun depression, 20 elevation, 10 per side, so still kind of comfortable compared to the Polish tank destroyers, but same garbage shell velocity again. A high explosive actually has 1900 DPM or so, but it's at tier 9, so that still doesn't compete. 44 pen for high explosive. No stun duration as well. No. It's a 203, so it's not that scary though. Does it have the armor, right? It's still IS-4 chassis. It could be a little bit more aggressive. 1300 health, only 100 more than the tier 8. That's not saying much. 180 at the front. Oh, 255 on the mantlet. Sloped 180, so more respectable, but gold shell could possibly go through sometimes. Middle plate is 180 at the beak, about 230mm effective. Bottom plate not that bad, 150 sloped. Cupola weak spots for the commander and the loader. It's okay. I mean, 170 is fine, but it's still a weak spot. So side armor 80. It's not the IS-4 side armor. IS-4 side armor is like 160, which is nuts, double of this thing. So yeah, nope, not exactly super IS-4 side armor, but at least you have armor. And this thing doesn't have the engine deck in the front, so with the big ass mantlet too, the mantlet will eat the shot, hopefully. Yeah, the mantlet is about 600 at sometimes, 700 at sometimes. It's angled, it's the sloping, about 280 or so. The mantlet will eat the shot against similar high explosive anti-tank rounds, but mobility is actually surprising. 16 horsepower per ton ratio with 40 kilometers per hour top speed. Weighs about 60 tons. Theoretically, you could go ramming with this thing, but that is a massive engine deck. I think the IS-4 gets cut off like right here. So one less road wheel of length. But camo wise, 13%, which is surprising for a heavy tank chassis of that size. And 380 meters of view range. With a little bit better radio now, but fully upgraded. Only one gun, so no need to grind. Only have to worry about the engine power. Still kind of crap, right? I mean, unless you're constantly and effectively dealing the damage with the heat round, that DPM is not justified of playing the whole tech tree. You'll get annoyed. So imagine waiting the same reload time as with a HESH round of a FE-215B1A3, except sometimes you don't even pin. You can lob the shell, but the accuracy is not that great, right? You could hide behind cover and trying to deal the damage, but it's not like dealing 1,500 alpha, right? Or 1,800 alpha. No, you're only dealing 500 alpha if you manage to pin and hit. Otherwise, high explosive, not gonna pin that frontal armor. So, very situational. And we already covered this vehicle, but Object 261, version number 4. Also with version number 5, but they share the same model, just slight difference in the armoring, not that much. So, this is a very good looking vehicle for a tank destroyer. Place this vehicle with different stats as a tank destroyer reward from like assembly shop. You're good to go, right? Effortless, near effortless. The same model with the same gun, just put it as a tank destroyer. Don't have to do that much work, but it's KPV machine gun on the back end. It's a very big caliber gun. Also a 203, right? 203 as well. So easily could become a tier 10 assembly shop tank destroyer. But it's massive. Looks a little bit more balanced than the IS-4 or the Object 715G. But yeah, more centered than the front end heavy on the IS-4 chassis. Also has space armor. It's an IS-7 chassis after all. But KPV machine gun for the top, for the coax as well. It's still slow. I mean, in shell velocity, and DPM is still not the craziest, right? Only 1450 for heat round. Accuracy is a little bit better than the tier 9, but not saying much. 10 degrees per side of the gun angles, so pretty consistent. It deals 650 alpha for 320 millimeters of pin, which is better than normal AP rounds, but you have to hit. And that's a big what if, or if, right? You have to hit the shell. It's still the 165 meters per second shell velocity. You could use high explosive, but 52 millimeters of pin for the same reload of a 183. Not that great, right? So this thing does have the armor. Already took a look at it back in like March of last year, but this thing does have the armor. It is the IS-7 chassis after all. And 210 sloped at the front. Without the cupola weak spots, yeah, definitely about 315, 20-ish against AP round 2. So that's pretty good. Upper plate about 230, so not as strong, but still relatively decent depending on the angles. And still decent for a heavy base chassis, right? It's still pretty good. Bottom plate very troll. It's a very well sloped 150. It's also a V-shaped hull design, so the rest are space armor. It's 80 millimeter sides. It looks 45. It's 100 on the back end, but you could. This bulge is not auto bouncing. Other parts of the V is auto bouncing, but there is a support for the return roller on the back end, which is only 100. So only reverse side scrape, but you have no turret. You cannot really reverse side scrape. There's still a strip. So still the support for the drive wheels sticking out as the weak spot for side scraping. Don't side scrape, just gun depress. Or just hide behind a building. 60 for the driver hatch. It's at an angle too, so don't go down a hill, therefore negating the driver hatch, but still negating the pike-shaped hull front. It has armor. It has better uniform armor than the tier 9, tier 8. So, not that bad, but 18.5 horsepower per ton ratio, 45 kilometers per hour top speed, weighs about 65 tons. This thing could go ramming more effectively, also with the pike-shaped hull front. So, when all else fails with the gun, go ram somebody. Hull traverse is crap. 17.73. Oh, that is not fast to turn. That is real slow to turn. All right, you have to be very sure you're going to ram somebody, otherwise you just juke you to the side. Oh. 9.9% camo and 400 meters of view range. You can actually spot if you have binoculars, but the DPM still sucks. Accuracy still sucks. Shell velocity real sucks, right? Subsonic. So overall, the whole tech tree doesn't feel that crazy, right? The same applies to the premium tank, the U-18T. We already covered this vehicle, but it's the premium version of a KV-1-ish of a KV tank with a derp gun and a real disgusting looking primitive superstructure of sorts, but it's the premium version or premium crew trainer of the whole branch. But theoretically, now you have a premium artillery, a real premium artillery to train your artillery crews, not like the flame cockroach that is the Object 156-0. So I think they could share the same crew along with the flamethrower cockroach, but this one's more uniform. You have more crew, can train the loaders, whereas the cockroach has like crew of 4 or 3. But visually, it's a KV tank with a superstructure and a 152, right? 152. So same garbage DPM, garbage accuracy, aim time, 4 degrees per side of gun angles, even worse than the 5 on the SU-D15. But 230 millimeters of pen for high explosive anti-tank, and the same layout, same shell velocity, 34 for high explosive. You get better DPM, but whatever. Still kind of if, but this thing doesn't have the armor of the ISU-2SH. Definitely not the same as with the ISM chassis, so definitely not as good armor. 1100 health, actually 215 at the hull front. Maybe the superstructure has the armor. 215. Slope 170 with some space armor on the front end. That's actually space armor on the front. Wow. It's like a KV-1 shielded on the frontal plate for the driver hatch and the bow machine gun port. That's interesting. That's actual space armor. It's still about 215 or so. Bottom plate 200. 75 for the actual this part. So this has always been the weak part of the KV tanks. But it's more like a Ferdinand. A little bit better than a Ferdinand superstructure at 200. It's flat though, so get shot. Cupola is still kind of a weak spot. It's still at tier 8, but mobility 14 horsepower per ton, 40-ish kilometers per hour top speed, 12.25% camo, and 360 meters of view range. So about the same as with the IS-2 or IS-2SH, right? About the same, just no engine deck in the front, but armor is not as effective on the actual superstructure, and the gun angle is not that good to the sides. So more variants, but the version 5 of the 261 is practically the same model, just a little bit difference in the gun or in the armoring. It has premium tank status, which is obviously not supposed to be there, so it's collecting dust. This is only a testing of the vehicle, so not in the actual tech tree. But overall, you want, I would say, rammer is that's not rammer, that's the consumables. You want rammer on the first slot, second slot, better aim time. It's like a tank to shore, but vents or turbocharger. You're not spotting. I wouldn't say you're spotting. I wouldn't say you have the camo or improved hardening. Spall lining? No. I would say vents for the last one. Alright, that seems fine. I mean, you could put turbocharger instead of vents, but vents will help out with the accuracy, with the aim time, with the DPM. I would say vents and view range. and some parts of the terrain resistance, so I would say vents. But field mods wise, the first half is the same as actual artillery. So this one is dispersion while moving the hull, or better engine power. Obviously better engine power. So 4% cut to moving dispersion, or like 0.5 engine power, horsepower per ton ratio. But definitely more engine power, no question. Not even a debate at this not even a debate at this point. Camo after firing or top speed. Camo after firing is already crap. You get slightly better crap, but no. It's 5 kilometers per hour top speed. Definitely more top speed. No, 5? Are you serious? Definitely, that's insane. Go ramming. 5, definitely. Traversing the gun dispersion or hull dispersion. This one is more like the gun. You're not traversing the hull too much unless you're playing the U-18T with the garbage gun arc. So I would say better gun moving dispersion. Yeah, definitely gun moving than hull moving. Yep. DPM or health. You have no health. So health change is not much. 80. 70 to 80. Nope. Get better DPM. DPM is also not that much too. It's still about nearly a second of reload. I would say better DPM. Health is not that much. Okay, whatever. It's negligible. And what the hell is this? 5%. Traverse speed or dispersion while traversing. You already have crap for traverse. So 1 degree per second faster or better dispersion while snapping shotting. I would say better traverse. Dispersion while moving is already kind of right? Unless it's better on the tier 10. I would say better traverse speed. Then again, you don't get circle strafe. If you do get circle strafe, you already get fucked up, right? 19 doesn't matter. 18 is the same as 19, so you already crapped up shit's creek. There you go. At that point, might as well go with 17 with better dispersion while traversing. But let's see, track dispersion, actually not that bad. 11% or 0.11 on dispersion while traversing and moving the hull and moving the vehicle. But then again, you're not traversing that fast though. I would say better traverse speed, or just take your pick. Both are crap. Is it better on the tier 9? 0.18. Why is it so much better on the tier 10 for some reason? Huh. Well, there you go, folks. I'm already tired. It's 40 minutes of covering a super crap-tastic of a branch. So, it's not stupidly fun. It's just stupid beyond all belief, right? You're not having a fun time with the same reload time of a 183mm that you're sometimes not even going to pin. So, what can you do with these branch? There's no stun effect. There's no stun duration assist, right? You cannot finish assault, or you cannot finish artillery missions in personal mission tab unless they have a specific consecutive damage dealing. But then again, it's better for artillery to deal the damage in ratio to your HP, right? It doesn't have that much HP, so like some artillery missions are dealing like 5 times your health. You're not going to do that with these vehicles, not even close. So what good are these vehicles? You can just easily play a tank destroyer and have a better time. You have the indirect fire mode, but that's not saying much. So might as well play an actual artillery or actual tank destroyer in the meantime. So the only way I'm interested in these vehicles is putting a different gun on all these vehicles, like putting a different gun on the IS-2 or SH, ISU-SH, and just placing this as a premium tank destroyer on the other servers, and there you go. That's more interesting than assault artillery. Also, it's locked behind the stage of progression for tier 11s. So Have to reach stage 2 in the mission bar, right? Stage 2 in the mission bar. So I wouldn't feel these vehicles are that good. No, shell velocity's crap, accuracy, aim time, DPM, all crap. It has the health and the view range compared to other artilleries, but you're not competing against other tank destroyers with health or armor. So other than the tier 10 or something, but that thing doesn't traverse. That thing is slow. So overall, these are like 3 out of 10, possibly 2 out of 10. Kind of crap, right? Real crap. Just put a different gun and have them as tank destroyers, actual tank destroyers, not assault artillery. But yeah, the higher end does seem interesting, like the design of the vehicle. That looks cool. That looks cool as a tank destroyer, not artillery. The same applies to the IS-4. That looks great as a tank destroyer, not artillery, right? But whatever. Well, there you go, folks. 40 minutes of pure crap, and the video's gone to shit. I'm slurring up the words, but whatever. As always, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
На границе тут ехала хура, край суровый, тишь